Thank you all so much for joining us and being prompt. We're going to give everybody about 2 minutes to get in the Zoom. It's about 3 o'clock. We'll start at 3:02.
That's a 3D model.
Make sure they don't hear me. Maybe that.
Huh?
Hear me.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us as we discuss the recently adopted revisions to Louisiana's accountability system. For many years, the Department of Education has been engaged in conversation about the need to reform our school accountability system, to optimize it to ensure it meets the needs of Louisiana and highlight areas where Louisiana is improving, still needs to improve for the benefit of our students. On today's call, we'll go through the 3 fundamental drivers. We'll give you a preview of the accountability system. We'll implement resources and next steps that are available to you. Questions can be asked through the chat, and those answers to those questions will be included in FAQ documents shared in the next Grow, Achieve, Thrive newsletter. The QR code that you see on the screen will give you access to all that information and make sure that you're kept up to date. So we really tried to tailor this to implicate school principles. Career and technical education will undergo a transformation in our new accountability system. Rather than being dismantled, it will experience revitalization. This shift will move us away from prioritizing the easiest to earn IBCs and credentials and towards fostering programs that add meaningful value to students beyond graduation. CTE leaders have long advocated for school systems to prioritize programs that align to economic demand and are often difficult to put into place and sometimes face resistance. This is the time for CTE to move forward with intention and focus on developing talent that drives economic prosperity in your parishes. The accountability system is built on 3 fundamental drivers. 1, high expectations. 2, simplicity and transparency in what the system measures. And 3, signaling the importance of college and career readiness in alignment with high expectations. We knew that the system needs to raise the bar around what it means to be career or college ready. Our goals are pretty clear. All our students must grow. We need to be transparent about what % of our students are mastering grade level content. And lastly, we need to make sure that when students arrive in high school, they are prepared to thrive and make choices about what they choose to do after high school. The revised accountability system recognizes schools when they help students reach college, workplace, or military service readiness. Simple and transparent, each measure in this system will ask a question, which is what percent of the students met the expectation? Creating a simple and transparent system was important to stakeholders. Our current accountability system requires tables and charts to know what you get 25, 80, 100, or in each indicator. This is challenging. It creates several different goals and makes it hard to explain what each indicator is measuring. For example, our current assessment index tells you the number of students earning advanced times 150, the number earning mastery times 100, the number earning basic times 80 divided by the total number of tests taken in the school. But before you do that, you have to weight ELA and math twice. The new system asks a simple question and gives a straightforward answer. What percent of the school students met the expectation for that indicator? The work then becomes determining what the right measure is an expectation within an indicator. One thing that we kept close at hand when we did this work was the college and career readiness definition adopted by Bessie, and really focused on making sure that our graduates from high school are prepared for university, college, or technical college programming without the need for remediation or co-requisite support, and making sure that our career pathway students graduate prepared for employment with foundational skills required for entry into career pathways. With that said, we'll focus on the growth measure for the first part. Louisiana has long been challenged with educational outcomes that fall far below those of the nation. Our current accountability system measures growth by comparing students to one another in our state and then comparing how far they grew compared to one another. Our revised growth measure stops comparing our students to one another and instead is based on a very simple criterion referenced measure where we look at a student's beginning spot, we divide each non-proficient achievement level in half, and then we expect that students will grow a half an achievement level from the lower achievement level to a higher one every single year, creating a similar amount of growth required for each student. You see here on this slide, a third grade student. She takes her first LEAP test at the end of third grade. She receives a low unsatisfactory score. She, in fact, might receive the lowest score, a 650. In the growth measure, we expect that she will go up to high unsatisfactory territory, meaning she needs to go from 650 to 675. The next year, if she's done that, her next growth mark that she needs to get to is low approaching basic, or a 700. Essentially, the idea is that she needs to grow a half an achievement level, get into that next category. And if she does that in third to fourth, fourth to fifth, sixth to seventh, seventh to eighth, eighth to ninth, she will be on grade level, mastering grade level content in English and math by the time she finishes ninth grade. That tells us that she is college and career ready, and she will be able to make choices about what path she wants to go on. Continued growth is an expectation that we all have for all of our students. So students who are in mastery need to continue to grow 1 point each year, or once they score advanced, they need to maintain advanced. We also know, because of how far behind this student starts, we need to think critically and hard about how to help her catch up. Because she's in the lowest 25% of the students in her school, she's going to be in the growth measure for all students and also in the growth measure for the lowest 25% of students. Now we're starting to see the accountability scorecard fill in. Here can we go back a slide? You're starting to see this accountability scorecard fill in. The percent of students growing in math, English, math for the lowest 25% of students, English for the lowest 25% of students, and English language progress for our English language learners. This is going to make 5 out of the 9 components for elementary schools, or 5 out of 12 components for high schools. We can go on to the next slide. Achieve is the most straightforward of the indicators. Achieve is essentially what percent of students are reaching mastery on each of the state's tests. With that, you'll see the full elementary school scorecard filled in. Percent proficient in math, percent proficient in English, percent proficient in science, and percent proficient in social studies. You'll note here that this is 9 indicators. So if this was an elementary school, it would be 4/9 would be proficiency across those 4 subjects. 4/9 would be growth on math, English, and then growth for the lowest 25% of students in math, growth for the lowest 25% of students in English, and then 1/9 is English language proficiency acquisition. With that, I will hand this off to my good friend, colleague, and one of the people that I know that cares more about moving student achievement in the state than just about anybody else, Dr. Jenna Chasson.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Happy to grab a few minutes with you all to talk about strengthening instructional coherence. And this is so important when we think about both the grow and achieve components of our new accountability system. And as an agency, the concept of achievement, we know, must be embodied by the support provided to school leaders, teachers, and students. So during this next portion of today's webinar, I'll discuss strengthening instructional coherence through teacher and leader growth and development, and also through expanded academic support for students. So we are working hard here at the Department of Education to connect the dots and make things as intentional and coherent from the state level as possible. Schools and systems promote coherence and strengthen learning through high-quality professional learning structures of instructional leadership teams and teacher collaboration. These structures leverage information and resources to build the professional capacity of educators so they are prepared to meet the needs of all students. These elements of ILT and teacher collaboration should be intentionally integrated into the learning of adults throughout the year. Another core component of our strategy is high-quality instructional materials. We know that materials are one of the most important tools educators use in the classroom to enhance student learning. So it's critical that they fully align to state standards, which is what our students are expected to learn and be able to do at the end of each grade level or course, and are high quality if they are to provide meaningful instructional support. The new Louisiana Leader Rubrics and Louisiana Educator Rubrics clearly define excellence in school leadership and classroom instruction. These tools help educators build essential mindsets and skills that elevate their practice, advance instruction, and improve outcomes for all students. Current classroom observation and student work and assessment data is critical for high-quality professional learning decision-making, goal setting, and progress monitoring. We have worked over the last decade to implement initiatives designed to support continuous improvement of teaching and learning across the state. We've prioritized the adoption and implementation of high-quality instructional materials. We've also supported our schools with implementing 3 proven strategies that enable sustained high-quality teaching and learning, including instructional leadership teams, teacher collaboration, and building career pipelines. Our new improved educator evaluation system will build upon and support these initiatives. The process and instructional practices supported by evaluation will be implemented through the structures of ILT and teacher collaboration, and it will also support the implementation of high-quality instructional materials. Our new Louisiana Educator Advancement and Development System will provide teachers and leaders with a research-based vision for instructional excellence, promote student outcomes-focused assessment of instruction, and provide a structure of professional learning opportunities connected to evaluation. The essence of the Louisiana Educator Rubric is highly effective instruction that results in deep student learning. And highly effective instruction moves beyond just foundational student engagement. The new rubric was developed to support a shift from student engagement to student ownership of learning. The progression of student learning from engagement to ownership is described across the performance levels of the new rubric. While student engagement is often cited as a goal of instruction, it's just one step on the way towards student learning and ownership. We really want to move from students doing the work to students understanding their learning and engaging in the cognitive work of learning, where student engagement goes beyond, my teacher said I had to do this. And ultimately, we want students to truly take ownership of their learning, where they're able to have intrinsic motivation and make their own real life and real world connections. This next slide shows a model of the learning progression. When students are engaged in work, doing learning, the instruction is at the proficient level. The educator is directing the learning for the majority of the lesson. This would be considered rock solid and effective on the new rubric. Then you'll notice as we move forward in this progression of learning, students move to the next level, understanding, where the educator shifts to a more facilitation approach, and students begin to shift from just procedurally engaging in the learning to a level of ownership in their learning. Then at level 5, the highest level in the new rubric, the teacher and students co-facilitate their learning, and students are truly owning their learning and are able to share what they have learned, apply and extend their learning, and take responsibility for their learning. A very important component of leaves is continuous support through the observation process. Educators receive both announced and unannounced observations. Observations follow the POP cycle. Prior to announced observations, the observer conducts a pre-conference with the teacher to ask pertinent background questions and begin the coaching process. Now, of course, with an unannounced observation, the evaluator doesn't have an opportunity to hold a pre-conference, but they should try to have some understanding of the lesson objectives, activities, and materials, and begin to collect evidence. This is done prior to the observation, if at all possible. After each classroom observation, the teacher being observed has the opportunity to reflect on the lesson and receives written feedback from the individual evaluator in a post-conference. In the post-conference, the evaluator shares a reinforcement and refinement area. All observations, both announced and unannounced, must include a post-conference. The area of refinement then becomes the professional growth plan. The follow-up coaching and support cycle component of leaves incorporates 6 steps. This is considered a cycle of learning and growth, and the PGP coaching plan is revisited after each teacher observation. Important to note here that the coaching cycle begins by identifying a student need. This student need should connect to the teacher's refinement goal. There's always a relationship between teacher actions and student learning. For this process, we have to think about how improvement in the refinement area will positively impact student learning. What's that one thing, if adjusted and done a little differently, would have moved more students in their learning during that lesson? We have lots of Leaves resources that are now available in our Leaves library on our website. A resource that you all might find especially helpful is our Louisiana Educator Rubric 90-minute teacher induction training that's linked here on this slide. So we welcome you to access that resource and begin to learn more about the Louisiana Educator Rubric and the Leaves system. Now, Leaves focuses on the support around instruction that teachers and leaders will receive through our new teacher and leader advancement system. But we know that we also have to be very intentional about the materials delivered during all learning time as well. Leaves is all about growing educators to, in turn, grow students. We know that students learn best when offered instruction that is coherent from core grade level instruction to extra time to learn. We also know that access of all students to core grade level instruction, including our students with disabilities, is of the utmost importance. High quality core instruction is so important, and we should never waver from keeping the time, space, and quality of core instruction sacred. But we also know that many of our students have gaps in their learning and aren't yet able to access core grade level instruction. So this is when we also need to consider extra time to learn. No matter what you all may call the extra time, intervention, when or what I need, tutoring, it's essential that students are provided with impactful instruction that aligns to the learning currently taking place during core or is previewing core grade level work. That extra time to learn is all about how do we set students up to be successful during core instruction time. Act 771 of this past legislative session requires all students in kindergarten through 5th grade who fail to achieve mastery on any statewide assessment in reading or math to be eligible for expanded academic support. These identified students must be provided with one of the following. They either need prioritized placement in a class taught by a highly effective teacher, or they are then eligible for high dosage tutoring. The Accelerate High Dosage Tutoring Program that comes from Act 771 has specific program requirements for implementation that are cited in the law. The requirements are here on this slide, but please note that this could be time already built into your day. It doesn't need to be additional time if you already have some extra time to learn built into your schedule. It may be something that's already there that you are just further refining to follow these evidence-based requirements that are cited in the law. With expanded support for students, we've also released a new template for the IASP, the Individual Academic Support Plans. And these cover the expectations of several legislatively mandated plans for students. This includes their literacy plans, numeracy plans, their tutoring plans, IAIPs. There's lots of required plans for students. So we have revised this into one umbrella plan called an IASP that becomes the new student support plan. And it should be created by the teacher, principal, other pertinent school personnel who might be involved in this. And of course, the parent or legal guardian should have input. A link to the IASP template can be found on the next slide, which includes different important resources for teachers. So on this last page, you'll find information and resources related to high dosage tutoring and academic support for students. We have a guidance document, some frequently asked questions. We also have more information for math, including tutoring guidance for high school math.
Thanks so much.
We
Dr.
know that focusing on growing our educators to grow students will increase achievement in our state. And our new Louisiana educator rubric and leave system gives us a common language to enhance instructional practices during both core and extra time to learn. So with that, I'm happy to pass it back over to Mr. Lambert.
Thanks, Dr. Chasson. No matter where students start, growth is critical. By having a strong focus on student proficiency and student growth, we know that more students will reach 10th grade ready to have choices about their post-secondary plans. In high school, graduation rate continues to be an important factor. The indicator is thoroughly simplified, though. Now it's the percent of students earning a diploma. Previously, if a school's graduation rate was below 75%, you multiplied it by 0.9. If it was between 76 and 90, you multiplied by 1.11112. And if it was greater than 90, you got 5 points for every point you were above 90. The new formula is much more simple. It says what percent of your cohort earned a diploma on time. The nationally recognized assessment index shows the percent of students reaching the equivalent of a 20 on the ACT or an equivalent on other nationally recognized assessments of college readiness, in addition to gold on the work keys or a 59th percentile on the ASVAB. University diploma students must still take the ACT or a nationally recognized assessment, though if they do that, the school can substitute a higher score from another test. Louisiana's current accountability formula had an indicator that was supposed to recognize credential attainment. In reality, a school would earn 100 points out of 150 for students graduating on time, so only 50 out of the 150 points in that indicator counted toward or were actually measuring credential attainment. Low-level and high-quality credentials represented bonus points in that indicator. In the new index, we asked the question, what percent of students are really ready for life after high school? College-ready graduates who earn a 20 on the ACT or an equivalent score on another nationally recognized exam can demonstrate how they earn college credit through a variety of ways. Graduates can demonstrate that are earning a high-quality credential.
You're not telling them to put it back. You know what I'm saying?
High-quality credential that is valued by business and industry and having valuable work-based learning experiences. Lastly, and certainly not least, we've, for the first time ever, included in our accountability system recognition of students who join the United States military. Work-based learning requirements will be phased in over time and are included on the next slide. Work-based learning will be phased in over several years. In the first year, a school will earn 5% bonus for reaching the goal of 25% of their career accelerating students earning a work-based learning experience. In the following year, we'll expect it to be 30%, and that'll get you the 5 points that year. It'll go up by 5 until we get to 65%. For example, if a school has 50 students who are accelerating on that career column, and 13 of their students get a work-based learning experience, the school would earn 5 bonus points because 13 out of 50 is greater than or equal to 25%. Now you see a completed scorecard. This is how a school that has assessments as well as high school indicators like grad rate nationally recognized exams, and a cohort grad rate, like I said, will be measured. It's real straightforward to calculate. You add up all of the percentages and then you divide by the number of percentages you have, just a straight average, not a weighted average. You don't have to have a percentage table to calculate it. You can just add up all of them and divide by the number of indicators you have. And with that, we're going to hand it off to another good friend and colleague, Dr. Ernest Singleton, who leads our Office of College and Career Readiness.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert, and good afternoon, everyone. The Office of College and Career and College Readiness stands ready to assist educators and schools alike this academic year as you prepare for the launch of Grow, Achieve, Thrive. At this time, I want to dwell further into the Thrive portion of the revised accountability system and how it impacts you as teachers. So on this slide, I really want you to hear and understand and become ingrained as the Thrive portion is presented. The revised accountability system is a fundamental shift in our way of thinking. As you listen to how to implement the Thrive portion of the revised accountability system, don't think about graduation requirements. Think of providing opportunities for your students to accelerate or increase their learning. Let's take a closer look at the University Accelerator. Mr. Lambert went through the details of how a student is able to earn points on the University Accelerator. But how do you help those students? In order to support students aiming to earn this particular accelerator, teachers that are interested in teaching dual enrollment, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, or CLEP content should engage with their leadership on opportunities available for professional development, on AP opportunities to become certified to teach academic dual enrollment, or to become certified to teach dual enrollment coursework through continued education. The practical implications, can you go back one slide? I'm sorry, yes, go ahead to the next slide, please. This slide presents the Career Accelerator. Again, Mr. Lambert went over the details of this, but we want to talk about the practical implications for individuals at your school. For elementary and middle school teachers, while elementary and middle school teachers are not often seen as part of the career and technical education continuum, they are an integral to the success of CTE programs at the high school level. A strong foundation in literacy and numeracy is a key component for success in technical courses at the high school. Additionally, building strong skills in problem solving and teamwork in the early years allows for acceleration in the technical programs. Teachers in the early grades can also ensure that students are getting early exposure to opportunities available in the world of work. For elementary and middle school teachers, what career exploration activities can be embedded in your classes to ensure the students begin to understand job opportunities in their communities? For elementary and middle school teachers, are you aware of the CTE opportunities available at the high school? Knowing those opportunities can enhance the instruction in your classrooms and help engage with the system CTE supervisors to learn more. The practical implications for high school teachers include teachers who have transitioned from other industries. Work with your school leadership to become certified to teach technical dual enrollment. For example, if you have worked as a computer programming for 5 to 10 years before transitioning into education, you're likely qualified to teach that content at the 2-year college level. High school teachers ensure that parents and students understand how technical skills developed in your classroom translate into in-demand skills in the workforce. Work with your leadership to take advantage of opportunities to not only maintain technical skills, but also learn new technical skills. CTE programs often require literacy and numeracy skills taught in core academic courses. What opportunities are available to partner with CTE and academic teachers to show practical applications of skills? For example, geometry and carpentry, trigonometry and electrical, Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 into computer programming. There are many opportunities there. The final accelerator is the Service Accelerator. This is earned by exposure to the ASVAB and testing, as well as military recruitment. For students who are expressing interest in joining the military branch or entering a service academy, help guide the student to either a counselor on campus or an on-campus recruiting team to provide additional guidance. We've also developed guidance related to work-based learning and are currently working on additional guidance. For high school instructors, if you are interested in being a work-based learning instructor, reach out to your leadership team to inquire. For elementary and middle school teachers, if you see a space in your campus where you can host a high school intern, reach out to your site level leadership to discuss that process. High school teachers, you are often the best person positioned to ensure that counselors understand your career and technical education program progression, along with any multiple entry and exit points built into the programs through academic preparation, dual enrollment, and registered apprenticeships. This includes understanding the established class progressions and flexibilities to move across course progressions. What are the opportunities available to provide counselors with professional development to understand your program? Also, for high school teachers, you are often the best person positioned to understand the general language proficiency and the industry-specific language required in all of your career and technical education programs. What support should be provided to those students enrolled in career and technical education that targets specific language acquisition needs? Students need to know that information. Share with your leadership team if your content or the IBC exams are available in languages other than English so that those students can take those exams. Again, high school teachers, you are often the best person positioned to understand the accommodations that are available for specific content for our students with disabilities. During IEP team meetings, share the accommodations available by the certifying agency of the content you instruct. And at this time, I'm going to pass it back over to Mr. Lambert to close out.
Thanks so much, Dr. Singleton, for sharing that helpful information for teachers. In fall of 2024, the department will set cut scores for 3 scales: an elementary or middle scale, a scale that is for schools that serve high school grades, and for districts. So there will be 3 different scales. The simulated data will be used to set the minimum and maximum score for A through F to be used the first year that the scores count, which is in 2026. So in the fall of 2024, we are going to run data through the revised formula and set cut scores so that you know what target you are trying to hit for 2026 for each letter grade. So schools across the state will know their score under the simulation and what it would mean if they made no progress toward meeting the expectations set by this formula. Schools and districts will be able to set goals, and we hope schools will target trying to grow a letter grade or some reasonable amount of points based off of what resources and tools they have available and where they are in building out their career and technical education program. In any year after 2026, where 50% of schools on a scale earn an A or a B, the scale will go up by 5 points. So it starts by setting a distribution that you see with the top 10% earning A based off the 2024 data. And then that scale will exist through 2026. And many more schools can earn an A because we've just set the minimum score. And then if 15, 20, 25% of schools earn an A, that's fine in 2026. The scale will not change until 50% of schools earn an A or a B the following year. We've also included SPS changes by year. Here you'll see that in the fall of 2024, the SPS formula is unchanged from 2023. LDOE will issue cut scores for the revised system using this year's data, and LDOE will issue those simulated data to districts as well. Fall of 2025 will be the final year of the current system. LDOE will issue simulated data using those cut scores that we issued in 2024. as well as the current system will be the main place where people go to find information about how schools are performing. Fall of 2026 will be year one of the revised system. The scores will be based off of the revised formula. Cut scores that we use for an A, B, C, D, F will all be based off of that 2024 set of cut scores that we created. And we will continue to release simulated data under the old formula so that you have your old formula and your new formula side by side for you to be able to do comparisons and see improvement, things that need to be changed further. Fall of 2027, scores will continue to be under the new revised formula, and cut scores could have increased or changed if 50% of schools were an A or a B in the prior year in 2026. With that, we're really grateful for you all joining us to learn more about this. You can always email assessment@la.gov for more information or to ask any questions. We're always happy to answer. The QR code will take you to our website where you can sign up for email updates, watch more videos, or view FAQs. Any questions that were put in the chat have been captured by our communications team, and they'll be putting out a frequently asked questions document to answer your questions. So we really appreciate you making time for this. We know it'll be important for our students, and we know that we can meet and beat the expectations that are set in this formula. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great start to the school year.